Welcome to Fractured Chaos.
I found out my wife was cheating on me through a wedding invitation. Not just any wedding invitation, their wedding invitation. Taped to my fridge like a grocery list, while I was still wearing the same clothes I'd traveled home in. But let me back up, because this story starts with the kind of trust that only family can destroy. You know that feeling when you hand someone your car keys and they return your car totaled? Well, imagine handing someone your entire life and they return it as a wedding announcement. That's what my brother Eli did to me. I'm Andrew, by the way. And before you ask, yes, I should have seen this coming. But hindsight is like that friend who shows up to your funeral with all the advice you needed when you were alive. Here's how it went down. I had a work trip. 9 days in Denver. Boring conference stuff that would put an insomniac to sleep. Before I left, I made the mistake that ruins families. I asked my brother to check on my wife. Just make sure Natalie's okay, I said. Water the plants, grab the mail, prevent her from turning into a serial killer documentary hermit. Eli nodded with the enthusiasm of someone being asked to watch paint dry. This is the same guy who once called me at 2 a.m. because he couldn't figure out which setting on his washing machine meant clothes get clean. The man uses 3-in-1 shampoo and calls women boss babes unironically. He's about as threatening as a golden retriever wearing a bow tie. Natalie, my wife of 3 years, couldn't stand him. Called him your walking midlife crisis and the human equivalent of a participation trophy. She wasn't wrong. Eli had the emotional depth of a puddle and the life skills of a houseplant. So when I asked him to check on her, it felt like asking a vegetarian to babysit a steak. Safe, harmless, impossible to screw up. I was gone for 9 days. 9 days. That's 216 hours. Apparently, that's exactly how long it takes for your entire life to get hijacked by someone who still thinks Netflix and chill is a personality trait. When I landed back in town, I texted Natalie, "Home in 20, want Thai or tacos?" Nothing. "Flight was delayed, but I'm here. Miss you." Radio silence. I figured she was napping. Natalie could sleep through a tornado if it meant avoiding adult responsibilities. I drove home. Key still worked. Garage door still opened. Everything looked normal. Except it wasn't. The house felt wrong. Like when you walk into a room and know someone's been there, but you can't prove it. The air felt different. Too clean. Too quiet. I called out, "Natalie, I'm home!" Nothing. I walked through the house like I was investigating a crime scene. The living room looked staged. The kitchen was spotless, which was weird because Natalie's idea of cleaning was moving dirty dishes to the sink and calling it progress. Then I noticed the photos. Our wedding pictures? Gone. The silly selfies from our honeymoon? Gone. That embarrassing photo of us at her sister's birthday party where we both looked drunk and happy? Also gone. I went to our bedroom. Her side of the closet was empty except for a single coat hanger, swaying like it was mocking me. That's when I found Baxter's bed. Empty, no dog, no note, just the indent where he used to sleep, like a crime scene outline. I'm not gonna lie. I panicked. I called her phone. Straight to voicemail. I called her sister. No answer. I called her mom, who picked up and immediately hung up when she heard my voice. That's when I saw it. Taped to the fridge, next to our grocery list and a coupon for oil changes, was a wedding invitation. Cream-colored cardstock, fancy lettering, the works. "Eli and Natalie are finally tying the knot. Surprise! Join us for our new beginnings celebration." I read it 3 times before my brain processed what I was seeing. My brother, my wife, their wedding. And that word, finally, like they'd been waiting their whole lives for me to disappear. I sat on the kitchen floor and laughed. Not the good kind of laugh, the kind that happens when your brain breaks and your body doesn't know what else to do. I laughed until I cried, then cried until I laughed again. Then I got angry. Not regular angry, the kind of angry that makes you Google things like how to legally ruin someone's life and can you contest a marriage if one person is clearly insane. I started digging. First, I went through our bank statements. No weird charges, nothing suspicious. Then I checked our phone records. Nothing there either. These two had been sneakier than I gave them credit for. But then I remembered something, Venmo. I opened the app and searched Eli's transactions. And there they were, scattered over the past 2 months like breadcrumbs leading to my personal hell. $8.63 to Natalie, therapy juice. $12.40 to Natalie, our little secret. $6.95 to Natalie, shh. $15.20 to Natalie, for being amazing. Therapy juice? What the hell was therapy juice? And why was everything under $20? Were they rationing their affair like college students splitting gas money? I screenshot everything, then called Eli. He answered on the second ring video call, wearing a bathrobe I'd never seen before. He was smirking. Actually smirking. "Hey, bro," he said, like we were discussing the weather. "Didn't expect to hear from you so soon." "Eli," I said, trying to keep my voice steady, "I need you to explain something to me." "Shoot." "I came home to find my wife gone and a wedding invitation on my fridge. Care to elaborate?" He shrugged, actually shrugged, like I'd asked him about his weekend plans. "Life happens, Andrew. Sometimes people realize they're with the wrong person." "How long?" I asked. "How long what?" "How long has this been going on?" He tilted his head, pretending to think about it. "Depends. Do emotional affairs count or just the physical ones?" I nearly threw my phone. "Both," I said through gritted teeth. "Emotional, about 6 months. Physical," he grinned, "about 6 weeks." 6 months. This had been going on for 6 months, and I'd been completely oblivious. They'd been planning this while I was making dinner, while I was asking about their days, while I was being a husband to someone who was already married to someone else in her head. "Why?" I asked. "Why what? Why her? Why now? Why me?" Eli leaned back in his chair, still in that stupid robe. "Honestly? You want the truth? I think I've earned it. You were never really trying, Andrew. You got comfortable. Natalie needed someone who saw her potential." "Her potential?" "Yeah, you treated her like she was already perfect. I treated her like she could be better." I wanted to reach through the phone and strangle him. Instead, I said, "Congratulations on the wedding. When is it again?" "Saturday. You're not invited, obviously." Obviously. I hung up and immediately opened the RSVP website from their invitation. There was a section for guests of honor where you could leave messages for the happy couple. I typed, "Can't wait to celebrate your new beginning. I'll be there in spirit. A." Then I clicked attending and added a +1. Did I have a date? Absolutely not. But I had something better. A plan that was about to make their new beginning feel like a very abrupt ending. See, here's what Eli and Natalie didn't know. Natalie had left her old phone behind. It was sitting in our junk drawer, the one she'd replaced 6 months ago when she accidentally dropped it in the sink. She'd claimed it was dead, unsalvageable, not worth fixing. I'd offered to take it to the repair shop, but she'd insisted we just throw it away. We never did. I plugged it in, and after an hour of charging, it came to life like a digital zombie, and since Natalie had never been great with technology, she'd never signed out of anything. Her notes app was a goldmine. She had lists, actual lists comparing me and Eli like we were competing products on Amazon. Andrew versus Eli, pros and cons. Andrew. Stable job. Owns house. Good with money. Boring in bed. Doesn't listen. Takes me for granted. Rating, 3.5 out of 5 stars. Eli. Spontaneous. Makes me laugh. Great chemistry. No money. Lives with roommates. Might be using me. Rating, 4 out of 5 stars. Potential for growth. Potential for growth? She was rating us like we were succulents at Home Depot. But the real treasure was in her messages with Eli. Months of planning, scheming, and straight-up lying. My personal favorite was from 2 weeks ago. If Andrew ever finds out, I'll just say it started after he left for Denver. Technically not a lie if we make it official while he's gone. They'd planned the whole thing. The wedding, the timing, even the cover story. They were going to tell people it was a whirlwind romance that happened after I left town. I screenshot everything. Every message, every plan, every lie. Then I did something that felt both petty and necessary. I anonymously sent the screenshots to Natalie's friend group chat. Not from my phone, obviously. I created a fake Instagram account, gathered their usernames from Natalie's followers, and sent a direct message to each of them with the simple caption, "Thought you should know what your friend has been up to." Then I logged out and waited. The results were immediate and devastating. Within hours, Natalie's Instagram was flooded with comments. Her engagement photos were getting laughing emojis and snake emojis. Her friends were tagging each other, asking if they'd seen the receipts. By the next morning, half her bridesmaids had dropped out. Her sister, who was supposed to be the maid of honor, posted a cryptic Instagram story with just a Bible verse about adultery and a broken heart emoji. Natalie's mom, who had been posting excited grandmother-to-be content for weeks, suddenly went radio silent. Then she posted her own cryptic message. Sometimes the people closest to you are the ones who hurt you the most. Proverbs 27:6. A divorce scripture. At her daughter's wedding celebration, the internet had done what I couldn't, held them accountable. But I wasn't done. Saturday arrived, their wedding day. I didn't go. Instead, I sent a gift. Not flowers, not cash. Something much more personal. I'd spent the week creating a scrapbook. A beautiful leather-bound scrapbook with gold lettering that read, "Things that started before your marriage. A timeline." Inside, I'd carefully organized every screenshot, every Venmo transaction, every lie they'd told. I'd even included a photo of Eli's ex-girlfriend, who had been texting me all week, asking if his sudden marriage meant they were officially over. I added a sticky note to that page. "Thought you should know he's been keeping his options open too." The final page was a group photo from last Christmas, all of us together, smiling like a happy family. I'd written underneath it, "Before you knew you were playing musical chairs with my life." I had it delivered to the venue an hour before the ceremony, addressed to the happy couple, with a note that said, "Congratulations on your new beginning. May it last longer than your last relationship. A friend." They still got married. I found out later from Natalie's sister, who had started texting me after the Instagram drama, that the ceremony was a disaster. Half the guests didn't show up. The ones who did kept whispering and checking their phones. Natalie cried through the entire thing, but not the good kind of crying. Eli's best man gave a speech that was essentially an apology for not knowing what to say. The photographer kept asking if they wanted to redo shots, because they both looked stressed, but they went through with it. Maybe out of spite. Maybe because they'd already paid for everything. Maybe because they were too stubborn to admit they'd made a mistake. A week later, Eli called me. His voice was different, smaller. He sounded like he'd been crying. "Andrew," he said, "I think I made a mistake." "Oh?" "Natalie's been different since the wedding. She's distant. She's on her phone all the time, texting people, laughing when I'm not in the room. And last night I found out she's been in contact with her ex from college." I almost felt bad for him. Almost. "That's rough, man," I said. "Really hate that for you. I think she might be cheating on me." The irony was so thick I could taste it. "Wow, that's crazy. I can't imagine what that feels like." "I know I don't deserve it, but do you have any advice? You were married to her for 3 years. How do you handle it when you think your wife is being unfaithful?" I was quiet for a long moment, letting him sit with the question. "Eli," I said finally, "I think the best thing you can do is trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is. And if someone is capable of betraying one person they promise to love, they're probably capable of betraying another. Do you think I should confront her? I think you should do whatever feels right for you. But remember, sometimes the person you think you can trust the most is the person you should trust the least." I hung up and immediately sent him a Spotify playlist I'd been working on. I titled it "The Signs Were There" and made sure the first song was "Backstabber" by Kesha. The next day, I sent him a follow-up text. "By the way, you might want to check her Venmo transactions. Just a thought." I didn't hear from him for a week. When he finally called back, he was sobbing. "You were right," he said. "She's been seeing someone else. Started right after the honeymoon. I found the messages." "I'm sorry, Eli. That really sucks." "Andrew, I'm so sorry. I know what I did to you was wrong, and now I understand how it felt. I don't expect you to forgive me, but I need you to know that I'm sorry." "I appreciate that," I said, "but apologies don't undo betrayal. They just make the person giving them feel better. Is there anything I can do to make it right?" Nope, but you can learn from it, and maybe next time you'll think twice before you decide to steal someone's life. I hung up and blocked his number. Here's the thing about revenge. People say it's a dish best served cold, but I disagree. I think it's best served publicly with witnesses and with enough evidence that nobody can deny what really happened. They blocked me on social media, but joke's on them. I still get updates. Remember that old phone of Natalie's? The one she thought was dead? It's still connected to her iCloud account. Every photo she takes, every message she sends, every location she visits, it all syncs to that little device sitting in my drawer. I'm not using it to stalk them or anything creepy. I'm just staying informed, like a really specific news subscription. And the news has been fascinating. Natalie's already moved out of Eli's apartment. She's staying with her college ex, the one she was texting. Eli's been posting sad boy quotes on Instagram like a teenager going through his first breakup. His latest post was a picture of a sunset with the caption, "Sometimes the people you trust the most are the ones who hurt you the deepest." The lack of self-awareness is almost impressive. Last week I got a text from an unknown number. It was Natalie. "Andrew, I know you hate me, but I need you to know that I never meant for things to happen this way. I was confused and scared, and I made terrible decisions. I don't expect forgiveness, but I want you to know that I loved you. I just wasn't ready to be the person you needed me to be." I stared at that message for a long time. Part of me wanted to respond with something cruel, something that would hurt her the way she'd hurt me. But then I realized something. She was already living with the consequences of her choices. She'd lost her husband, her friends, her family's respect, and now her second husband. She was about to lose her third relationship in less than a year. The best revenge isn't hurting someone back. It's watching them hurt themselves while you build a better life. So I didn't respond. Instead, I deleted the message and blocked the number. I'm doing better now. I've got my own place, a job I actually like, and I'm dating someone who thinks honesty is a basic requirement, not an optional upgrade. Her name is Sarah, and when I told her this whole story, she laughed and said, "Well, at least you know all the red flags now." She's right. I do know the red flags, and I also know that some people will betray you no matter how much you love them, how much you trust them, or how much you sacrifice for them. But here's what I've learned. Betrayal says everything about the person doing it and nothing about the person receiving it. Eli and Natalie didn't destroy my life. They just revealed who they really were. And honestly, I'm grateful. Better to find out now than waste another 10 years pretending they were people they never were. Sometimes the worst thing that happens to you is actually the best thing that could have happened to you. You just have to wait long enough to see it. Oh, and one more thing. If you ever need to check on someone's spouse while they're out of town, maybe don't ask their sibling to do it. Just saying. Trust me on this one. I learned it the hard way.